I had met Paul when I first moved to Atlanta in '79. He was trying to pick up my girlfriend. She finally got sick of it and took me over to his house one night to introduce us. And I wound up doing some camera work on a couple of the smoke-ins with him. Well, Paul and I both went to jail. He stayed down here, but I got to go to Pennsylvania. And when I got out, I hitchhiked it back down to Atlanta and kind of wound up crashing at the Plex. And I'd had a night job. I was doing phone calls for the ballet, and I was actually a maitre d' at the Ramada Inn for a while, a job that really didn't last very long. But like I said, I was setting up shows, and my last night at the Ramada Inn, I had spent all day setting up the circle jerks, and I got fired when I went in, and then I worked the door that night. So that was December of '83. I just sort of fell in, you know. It was, it seemed like a place that was a lot of energy and it had potential to have a lot of people do things without, since it wasn't particularly large. I mean, there were 39 people that you would see every weekend, and there were 13 people that you'd see every day.
Tell me your early memories of the guys in Neon Christ.
Oh, kind of naive, innocent little kids that had a lot of energy. At the time, more energy than technique, but did have some talent. They were some of the most eager young people in the world, which, I mean, they set up a lot of great shows because of it. And they got projects put out there. They got way more material out than DDT, who only managed to do one album, and that's only because a certain dealer needed to wash some money, but we tried not to corrupt them real hard. Like, we wouldn't smoke pot in front of them or do anything like that. Of course, we hung out with DDT where we did all that stuff, because it's kind of weird too. They weren't that much older, but yeah, Jimmy, and they were just nice little kids. I mean, I don't think any of them were over 15 when I met them. None of them drove. I know that. And they would bring down. They were good at bringing down other bands like Corrosion and Conformity, and you know they were, I guess, because they were kind of a little socialist. They had all the connections with the bands that did have some political leaning.
Tell us about the first one and the move to the second one.
Well, the first one was a blood bank, and basically, well, you shot that show out in Gwinnett. It was kind of set up like that, except their ceiling was a lot higher, and the room was a lot bigger, and there were two rooms off of it, one where Paul showed movies, and the other was the office space, and we all crashed around here. Whereas the second Plex that we moved to, the first time Paul opened the doors to show me what it was, there were stacks and stacks of boxes. It was a warehouse. It had been used as a warehouse. We found out what it originally was one of the first buildings built after the Civil War, and it was a bar and brothel. And the part of the Plex that was the bar was a carriage house where the horses and the carriages were kept. The front room where you would walk in was the bar, and upstairs were the rooms for the whores, where we slept. Wound up building our lofts, and which, you know, it's kind of appropriate actually. And the transition was slow because Paul won't hire professional people. He'll give punks $5 an hour and a Burger King lunch, and have them build the place. I was probably the most organized person there, which might give you an idea of how disorganized it really was. Paul didn't do anything but scream out orders. Whoever happened to be managing at the time, when I first got there, it was Andrew Adler. The only people in the neighborhood, well, the skinheads rented a warehouse across the street, or not the skinheads, I forget the woman's name. Sharon, yes. Sharon rented a little boy trap where she could feast on young skinhead boys, and they could crash there. And the winos and derelicts that really did live in the neighborhood, poor guys. I mean, we lived there by choice. We all lived the Plex throughout the winter when we had no heat, no windows. Why did we do that? I don't know. We were building something, we thought. And we did think we were going to build a place where people were going to have alternative ways of living. It almost sounds like a throwback to the hippies, and I think in a way it was. We were looking for something different, you know. I don't know if we were naive enough to think we were going to change all of society, but definitely we thought we were going to at least change our little part of society.